Hi guys, welcome to part 7. In this video, we'll be making page 9 and 10, and we are starting with September. So get your sheets from the 12 by 12 and the 8 by 8. And let's start with the 12 by 12 design sheet. Get rid of that white strip at the top and turn it upside down. Then cut it at 8 inches and save this for fussy cutting. Turn it so the right side is up and cut again at 8 inches. Now you have a background for the flap and some of the pocket page. Then let's take the 12 by 12 cut apart sheet and again get rid of that white strip at the top. And we might as well just cut under the stamps while we're here. Just be careful so you don't cut into the square. And then we're gonna turn it and cut off the border strip on the right side. And then we can cut down along the square to the bottom. And now our stamps are loose. Let's turn it and cut off the calendar card and the other square. And the tags. And these two pieces. Then the small signs. And let's separate these two. And we still need to separate some of the other pieces. And the border strip, we can just cut down to 8 inches. Remember to save the small part. Then for the 8 by 8 cut apart sheet, cut off the white strip. And then cut this piece off. Just cut along the edge of the calendar card. And then the small border strip. The part with the square. The strip of small tags. And these two. And cut off that strip from the 8 by 8 design sheet. And then we're just gonna cut off a little piece of this. Just cut below the apples. I want to fussy cut those. So we're just gonna put them in our little pile. And then cut off a piece at 2 3/4 from the top. And this is gonna be our little piece for the inside of our little pocket flap. And then we can save this for some fussy cutting as well. Now let's see if we can sort these out. You probably know which pieces go where at this point. We just need to separate these real quick. Like so. And this is for our tag. And this is gonna be cut in half. These are for our closure. And then we can separate all the stamps. Let's cut off this line of small signs. And as I said, separate the stamps. And the tags from the 12 by 12. And I think that was all of our pieces. For now anyway. And all of those we don't need right now, we can just put aside. I am putting mine in a little plastic pocket so I don't lose any. And then we're just gonna split these up in 3 piles. Like so. And we're gonna start with the one for the front of our flap. We have some pieces that we want to put some glossy accents on. So to give them time to dry, we are gonna start with those. And I think I want this piece for the front. So as always, let's start by inking the edges. We might as well just do all of our pieces. Also the small ones for the closure. And then we need our cardstock, B, C, and D, and our scrap for the September sign. And we can just start with that. Remember to leave some of the white edge around the sign when gluing it on. And then for the closure piece, ink the edges on the cardstock. And glue down the square you prefer. Then cut off the excess cardstock on the September sign. And ink. And then we can add our glossy accents. I am adding it to the apples and the butterfly and the leaves. And I'm doing the same with the September sign that also have some small flowers. And then we can put this aside to dry. And we're gonna fold and ink our cardstock. And we can glue the 8x8 design sheet onto the flap. And this time you want the hinge to be on the left. So place your score tape and your glue and place that onto the flap and varnish with your towel. And the rest of the pieces we're just going to put aside for now and get started on the pocket page. So take H, I, and J from your cardstock and start folding at the score lines and inking the edges. The only piece you don't have to ink is H, because we're not going to be able to see it. Remember to clean off the ink and wipe off the surface with your dry cloth. And then we're going to take this red piece and glue onto the H piece to make a 8x8 sheet. And I am using the measurements in my media mat to guide me. You might need to touch up with some ink on the sides. Then take the eye piece and wrap that around. And it's not important that the bottoms of the pieces line up. It's important that you can't see any of the HPs under the punched out border. So when you have it in place, just add some glue to the sides and fold them down. And then you can burnish that with your bone folder. Then add some glue to the border strip and place that under the punched out border, leaving a little bit of the white between those two. And then you can wrap the J piece around as well. And then we just need to add our magnet before we glue down the last piece. And I'm gonna use this chipboard for my magnet. And I am placing the first magnet right here with a little piece of score tape. And then I can glue down the last piece of design paper and varnish with my cloth. And then I'm placing another magnet, and I'm using a piece of score tape to get that to stick to my chipboard. And then we're gonna glue that down to the paper bag and get rid of all those air bubbles underneath. And then you can just cut it out. And I am using a really cheap hole punch to, punch out the hole. And then ink the edges. Then we're gonna do some fussy cutting, and I am gonna cut out this blue butterfly and the apples as well. And then we're gonna place that right in the corner after we've inked the edges, of course. And I'm just adding a little bit of glue between the apples and the blue butterfly. And then I am putting some glue on the side and on the bottom, on the inside, of course, creating a little pocket or talk spot. And then I'm just gonna cut out this flower to add some more detail. And then it's time for glossy accents, and let's just put something behind so the pocket won't get stuck. And then for the inside of our flap, let's start with the background. You're gonna cut a line on the left side of the sheet, and this is flipped upside down, so it is the left side. And you're gonna cut 7/8 from the edge and from the top and bottom, and then you're gonna ink the inside. And try to get as close to the corners as you can. I know it's a little hard. And also just ink the edges on all the other pieces. And also on your cardstock. And then you can put together piece E and F to make your little pocket flap. Then glue the calendar card on top of that. And remember, the hinge should be on the left side. Then take that little blue piece and put that on top, on the inside of the flap. And then the G piece, add a thin line of glue on the sides and on the bottom, creating a pocket. And place that carefully on the bottom. Then push that into the hole. And when you have it in place, just add some glue under the hinge on the back and press that down. And then we're going to find the middle for our magnet. Use your ruler and place it from corner to corner and make a pencil mark in the middle. And turn it and do the same thing with the other corners, and where the cross is the middle. So there you are gonna place a little piece of score tape and then put your magnet on that tape. Then flip the page around and add a magnet on the other side. Place a piece of score tape and close up your flap, and the magnet should stick to the flap. Then you're gonna add some glue to the last piece here and put that on top to cover your magnet. Add a strip of score tape to the hole and you can continue. Go around the edge and add a couple of strips across. Then you're gonna take off all the anti-stick pieces and put some glue in between. And then you can place it on your flap. Remember to have the hinge on the right side this time. And now for the closure. Place that on the front of the flap facing down. And make sure you have it in the middle. And then you can add a magnet. And then place the hinge of the closure under the flap and add some glue to the end. Now close that up. And add one of these small pieces to the arm. Add some glue to the back and place it up against the square. And burnish that with your bone folder. I'm sorry. Then we're gonna take the piece with the glossy accents on. Add your glue and place that behind the other square. And make sure you don't have anything upside down. And then you can glue the other small piece on. Again, place that right up against the square. And burnish that with your bone folder. Then take this sign and cut off 3 pieces of foam tape, 1 for each end and 1 for the middle. And place that sign between the closure and the bottom of the page. Then we're gonna make the tag and the folder and the weak cards. We're gonna punch off the corners and ink the edges on those, and they are done. And then we're gonna ink the rest and take out our bag of scraps so we can decorate the tag and folder. And we're gonna use this sticker, and these are the pieces we are using. Ink the edges on the sticker and place that right in the middle of your folder. Then cut down the little border strip so it fits the folder, and ink the edges on that as well. And then glue it on and add a stamp in the corner. I already inked that. And in with the cards, and the folder is done. Moving on to the tag. Place the small piece from the border under the tag on the scoreboard and score the edges up against the tag. So you have 2 tiny flaps. Ink the edges and wrap it around your tag. Then add a little glue to the tiny flaps and press them down with your bone folder. Then add a thin line of glue on the bottom of the border piece and press that down, creating a little pocket. Then add some glue to the back of the tag and press that down on your craft tag. Ink the edges on your square and 3 of the stamps. Glue down the square in the middle of your tag and just place the stamps in the little pocket. And the last 2 stamps we are gonna put on the closure. And we're also gonna use this green sign, so let's just cut that loose. And it's a little too big, so I'm just gonna cut off a teeny tiny bit on each end. And ink. And then we can glue down the stamps. I am placing mine a little crooked. And then we're going to take some foam tape, just 2 small pieces, 1 for each end of the little green sign. And now that is done. Then we have some scraps left, so we can create a little photo mat. And we're going to put together these 3 pieces. So take a strip of score tape to put these 2 together, and go over that with your bone folder. And then just cut off a teeny tiny line in each end, just to make sure that they are gonna look like they are one piece. Then punch off the corners with your 4mm and ink the edges. And I just cut down a piece of cardstock from my scrap so it fits the paper. Also take off the corners and ink the edges on the small sign. Then you can glue down the paper to your cardstock and burnish with your towel. Then glue on the little sign, and done. Now our Glossy Accents is dry, so we can put some score tape on the back of our pocket page. And we're going to burnish that with our bone folder. Then we're going to add some tape to the hinges of our flap and closure. Then take out the album. And let's start with the big flap. Place it so the score line lines up with the edge on the left side. And maybe touch up with some ink. Then place the closure and add some glue and close the flap. Then the closure should be on the right spot. And then the pocket page. Add all of your glue in between the tape and place that right in the middle of your page. And make sure to burnish real good. And be careful on the glossy accents. Then we just need to ink the edges on the cards and tags, but first I'm gonna punch off the corners with my 4mm punch on that one. And then I am cutting these at an angle so they line up with the tag. And then just ink everything. And now we can put all of our stuff into the pockets. I am putting my card in the back pocket and 2 tags in the fuzzy cut pocket and the other 2 tags under my chipboard magnet. The big tag is going in the middle pocket and the folder mat is going in here and the folder in the side pocket. And that is it for page 9. Moving on to page 10. This is the October, so of course it's Halloween themed. Let's remove this from the 8x8 design sheet, and that is done. Then let's take the 12x12 design sheet and do the same. Remove that white strip, then turn it upside down, cut it at 8 inches, and save this strip for fuzzy cutting. Then turn the sheet so that the left side is up and cut again at 8 inches. And I am pretty sure that you by this point know how to cut the cut apart sheets. So I am just gonna speed this up. I really hope that this isn't confusing for you. But you know, we've been cutting all the cut apart sheets the exact same way. So I'm sure you got this. Then take this piece and cut off 2 3/4 from the top. And this is for the inside of the little pocket flap flip thingy. Separate the tags. And then we'll put all these small pieces aside for now. And let's sort these out and put them in 3 piles with our cardstock. B, C, and D in this one. E, F, and G in this one. H, I, and J in this one. Starting with the one in the middle, we are also going to need a scrap from our cardstock to put behind the October sign. And we are inking everything. And then we can glue on the October sign to the cardstock. And remember to leave some of the white around. And then the square to the D piece. Then you can cut off the excess cardstock from the October sign and ink the edges on both pieces. I'm gonna add glossy accents to the little girl with the pumpkin and some of the details in the October sign. And after, we can leave this to dry while we work on the pocket page. We are folding all the score lines and inking the edges on everything except for the H piece. And cleaning up. Glue the purple strip onto the H piece. And wrap your eyepiece around so you can't see the H under the punched out border. Glue down the sides and burnish with your bone folder. Then add some glue to the border strip piece and place it under the punched out border. And use your cloth to burnish that. Then wrap the J piece around and add some glue to the sides and to the bottom flap. Press them down and burnish with your bone folder. Then we are fussy cutting this pumpkin. And let's do this sign as well. And a couple of these small purple flowers. Ink the edges. Add a little glue to the corner of that sign and place it on the pumpkin. I am so sorry, but for some reason my phone stopped recording. But this is what I did. I glued down the flowers to the left side of the pumpkin and I added a magnet behind this chipboard piece, just like all the other pages. And then I added some glossy accents on top of the pumpkin. And now I am gonna put these back to dry. And then we can work on the inside of the flap. Take E, F, and G and fold the square lines. Cut a line into the 8x8 piece on the right side, 7/8 from the edge and the top and bottom. Right now my page is flipped, so I'm cutting on the left side, but it's the right side from the front. Then we are inking all the pieces and remember the inside of the line we just cut. And the cardstock. Then we're going to put E and F together to make the pocket flap. Add some glue to the top and bottom flap and press that down. And don't add any glue to the hinge, but add a thin line of glue right next to the score line to close the bottom of the pocket. Then you can add the calendar card to the front of the pocket with the hinge on the right side and press that down. And this little piece goes on the top of the pocket with a hinge on the left side. And then you're going to take the smaller pocket and add a thin line of glue on the sides and on the bottom and press that down with your cloth, wiping away from the pocket. And then we're going to push that through the hole we cut in the background. And when you have it in the right place, you're going to flip it around and add some glue under the hinge and press that down. Then we're going to use our ruler to find the middle. Place the ruler in the corners across from each other and make a small pencil mark in the middle. And then turn it and do the same with the other corners. And then put a small piece of squirt tape right on that X and place your magnet on top of that. Then flip it around again and place a magnet on the other side. Add a piece of squirt tape and close up the little flap. And then your magnet should stick to the pocket. So you can glue on the last piece of paper on top of the magnet. I'm sorry about that. And now the inside of the flap is done, so we can make the outside. Take the big flap and fold it at the score lines and ink the edges. And then take the 8x8 design sheet and add your score tape all the way around the edges and a couple of strips across. Burnish with your bone folder, and then you can add your glue and place it on the flap with the hinge on the right side. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other side of the flap. Add your score tape on the piece we just made before, and then your glue, and place that on your flap with the hinge on the left side. Then we're going to do the closure. Ink the edges, so that is ready. And our Glossy Accents is dry now, so we can take the pieces for the front of our page. Take the inside square and flip that around. And then you can take a piece of score tape and place in the middle and place a magnet on top. And if you need to measure, that is fine. I'm just going to eyeball it. And then you can take the closure and place it under the flap. I'm using the measurements in my media mat to help me here. Then add some glue to the end of the closure and close that up, and it should stick to the square. And add some more glue if you need to. And then glue that piece together with the other square for the front. Be sure not to have it upside down. And then glue these two small pieces on each side of the arm and place them up against the design paper. And yeah, do that on both sides. And then we just need to add the last decorations. We need to separate the stamps and cut off this black sign and ink all of those small pieces. And we're gonna place two of the stamps in the corner. I am placing mine a little crooked and overlapping them just a little bit, like so. Then take out the foam tape and cut off 3 pieces for the October sign, 1 for the middle and 1 for each end. And then cut off 2 small pieces for the smaller black sign and place the small one on the closure and the big one between the closure and the bottom of the page. And the front page is done. Now we just need the inserts, and we are starting with the cards, cutting off the corners with our 4mm corner punch and inking the edges on all of our pieces. And then we are going to use this sticker for the folder. Ink the edges on that as well and place it in the middle of the folder. Then take this border piece from the 8x8 cut apart sheet and cut it down so it fits the folder. And give that some ink and place it under the sticker. I am going a little bit over the sticker, but that's fine. Then take one of the stamps and place that in the corner. This one I'm also placing a little crooked. And then put it in your week cards, and that one is done. So we're going to move on to the tag. And we're using these 2 pieces. We need to square this one from the 12x12 cut apart sheet. It's the rest of the border piece. So we're going to place it on a scoreboard and put the tag on top and score in each end up against the tag. And we're inking the 2 pieces. Then take that little border piece and wrap that around the bottom of the tag and glue down the sides on the back of the tag. And add a thin line of glue to the bottom of the border piece. And press that down with your towel, wiping away from the border. Then add some glue to the back of your die cut tag and place that on your craft tag. Then take this little square piece and add some glue to the back and place that on your tag. And now we have a little pocket for our stamps. And the tag is ready. Now for these, we have our card and some tags from the cardboard sheet. I am punching off the corners on this one. And on this one, I am cutting 2 of them at an angle so they match the tag. Just ink all of the edges and they are ready to go into the album. And the last thing we are gonna make is a photo mat. So I'm gonna puzzle these 2 pieces together that I found in my scraps, and I'm just using a piece of score tape to tape them together from the back, of course. And then we're gonna cut off just a tiny strip of paper to make sure that they are exactly the same length. And punch off the corners with the 4mm and the sign too. And then we're gonna ink the edges. Then add some glue and place it on a piece of cardstock from your scraps. And we want to leave just a little bit of the white around the edge. And then the sign on top, like so. And then we can cut off all of that excess cardstock. And punch off the corners and ink the edges. Now it's time to get all of it into our album. So we are starting with the pocket page and covering the back in score tape, or just going around the edge and a couple of strips across. And we are adding a couple of strips to the hinge on the flap and the closure. And then we're starting with the big flap. Add some glue and place it so the score line lines up with the edge of the page. Then place the closure on top of that and add some glue to the end and fold that in under the flap and make sure that it's on there straight. And then the pocket page, add your glue and place that in the middle of your page like so, and burnish. And be careful on the fussy cut. Then we just need to put all of our stuff into the pockets, and we are placing the photo mat on the inside of our little pocket flap. And then we are putting 2 tags in the fussy cut pocket and 2 tags under our chipboard magnet. And the big card goes in the pocket in the back, and our tags goes in the middle pocket. And the folder, of course, goes into our pocket flap thingy. And page 10 is done. In the next video, part 8, we're going to make the last 2 pages. And then in part 9, we are going to decorate the cover. And this is getting chunky, but not to worry. We are going to add a belt so it can expand. But thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you are enjoying this tutorial. Please subscribe to my channel and click the bell to be notified about my upcoming videos. And if you have any questions, please ask away. Happy crafting!